watching St. Lucia's only 100% digital television station, Hot 7 TV.
The opinions expressed on this TV program by the hosts, guests, and callers are solely their opinions and responsibility. They do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Hot 7 TV or its affiliates.
Well, good night, St. Lucia. Good night, and welcome to a little bit late episode of Keeping It Real. And of course, we're coming hot on the heels of Prime Minister Alan Chasney's budget speech, the appropriations bill. And of course, yours truly is here, waiting for you, and we're ready to go. Special good night to all of you. And of course, as usual, we have to say good night. Can't forget that, to all the loyal fans of the show. Special good night to those of you listening on 93.1 Sky FM, the place where it all started. Good night to Bagatelle. Good night to Millet, Look Milk, Jack Mel, Market Street, Ancillary. Good night to you. Biggest fans of Keeping It Real are in Ancillary, folks. Biggest fans. Now I got to come and get a drink down there sometime. Canneries and all of Ancillary. Everybody in Ancillary, those who watch the show and those who talk about the show and those who, get into it about the show. Keeping It Real, boy, I tell you, they love Keeping It Real down in Ancillary. Market Street, good night to you. Moshi, Massac, okay. You want me to shout out everywhere else. Massac, Capitol Hill on the Mon, good night to you. Goodlands, Ciceron, Latok Road, Masque, good night to you. George Cooper Road, Foa Shore, Entrepot, Independent City, Wavin Shabot, Balata, to those of you who want to polish things up. Bermuda, good night to you. Babono, Tuya, Tououge, Hill 20, Plateau. And of course, again, all the fans on radio, I'm not seeing myself in front there. I'm lost in space. 93.1 FM Sky Radio. Good night to you. Good night to the man Champagne. And of course, all the fans in the diaspora, in Liège, Belgium, New York City, Atlanta, Georgia, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Texas, Florida, California. Oh, I can see myself. Oh my gosh, the bow tie is straight. How do I look, folks? That's right. Toronto, Canada, Edmonton, Calgary, Jamaica, and Jamaica, New York too. All over the world, Australia. Special good night to you. So, of course, tonight's episode is called Mako Jouer. Well, you know, it has a little bit of a different spelling, but you know what I mean. Mako Jouer. Now, you know, folks, talking about that, the Mako Jouer that I want to talk about, you know, we know in St. Lucia, we know what it's all about. The meaning behind Mako Jouer or Mako Joie, as they say in St. Lucia. You know, you're playing dominoes or you're playing cards or whatever other game, and somebody has just been knocked out, they've been beaten, and they're over your shoulder and they're giving you directions, they're telling you what domino to play, what card to play. Kind of like the SLP nowadays, you know, they lost. You know, they lost in office, they failed, they couldn't play. They couldn't play to win. They made all the bad moves. And St. Lucia was all the worst for it. They couldn't borrow. Unemployment was sky high. VAT was, unleashed on the people of St. Lucia. And what I want to say to you folks, it wasn't Alan Chasney, it wasn't Gail Rigobert, it wasn't Spider Montoot, it wasn't Sarah Flood Beaubray or Edmund Estefan or Ezekiel Joseph or Dominic Fede or Leonard Spider Montoot. It wasn't Nancy Charles. It wasn't Nicole MacDonald. It wasn't yours truly, Norbert Williams. It wasn't any of us who put the SLP out of office. It was the people of St. Lucia who kicked them out. That's right, folks. Let's keep it real tonight. It wasn't Alan Chasney. Alan Chasney is Alan Chasney. He could only vote for one person, just like everybody else. But collectively, it was the people of St. Lucia. But the SLP is mad as hell against the government. Don't want to give them a chance to do anything. But it was the people of St. Lucia. It was the people of St. Lucia who evaluated your performance while in office between 2011 to 2016. June the 6th, 2016. To be exact, to be precise. So there is this bold-faced reluctance, this refusal to accept the will of the people of St. Lucia. And they want to give advice. In fact, they want to make demands. They want to issue commands to Prime Minister Alan Chasney. You must do it like that. We don't approve of this. Like somebody scolding a child or they're in office, they're in government. They're controlling things. They're out of office, they want to control still. That's not how the democratic process works. And that's not how it works in St. Lucia. It's not how it works. So, it's what you call, Marco Joie, but it's also what you call Monday morning quarterback. The Monday morning quarterback after the game. On Monday morning, that's after American football, they have all the advice. The quarterback should have done this, and you should have done that, and the team should have done that, and the coach should have, put in the extra guy there and taken out number 26 and all of that. They know how things should be done best. But they couldn't do it themselves. They always have advice on how they would want things to be done, and how they must be done. But we already know how they did, how they performed. They failed. They absolutely failed. They failed to open OKEU, the OKEU hospital. They failed to complete St. Jude's. They failed, folks. They failed to lower unemployment. They failed to fix the roads. They failed to desilt the dam, even though water rates were raised 66%, and tacked on top of that was a desilting levy. They failed to redevelop the Huanora International Airport, build a new terminal. Failure after failure after failure. And we have one of the greatest admissions of that failure by none other than Dr. Kenny Anthony. But I'll tell you what. Oh yeah, you've seen it before, and I tell you, I promise you, I will play it every time that I can, because you know what? They are relentless. They are relentless in regurgitating the same nonsense. They try to relive, they have nightmares of that vote of no confidence, the failure again, another failure. But nobody said it best than the biggest factor the biggest failure and the contributing factor to so many of the other problems that the SLP was faced with. And Dr. Kenny Anthony said it himself in his own words. You ready? Roll it.
But something happened. Something happened that made the situation different. And it is the first time St. Lucia has experienced this. This time around, we could not borrow to finance the deficit. That is the crux of last year, and this is where the crux of the problem is. We wanted to issue bonds of $266.5 million. But we actually were able to raise only $45.5 million.
That's a significant difference.
In other words, we were not able to raise $221 million. Likewise, we wanted to raise short-term loans of $38.9 million, but we were only able to raise $29.3 million. Again, a shortfall of $9.6 million. So what has happened here is that we cannot turn to borrowing to fix up our deficit because banks, individuals, and institutions who used to lend before are no longer lending governments. They're insisting that they will lend you if you get your financial house in order. And in our case, getting our financial house in order means that we have to bring down our fiscal deficit from where it is at 5.8% below 4%. That's the key.
His own words. Admission of guilt. Well, he didn't say so directly, but who else was at the helm? Him and his trusty so-called Deputy Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre. But I want to move on a little bit, folks. I want to move on. Because we've heard a lot of allegations. You know, there's a little laundry list, a little list that they love, and the satellites, they love to just spew it out there, drop it out there, put it on social. What happened to Cabot? We're giving our money away. The pensioners. What about Sandals? What about the shock lands? And you could come up with a few more. There's about 6 or 7 of them. They love throwing that out there. But up to now, they haven't put, just the innuendo, They haven't put any solid evidence to suggest what exactly the evidence is. They haven't put it out there. So tonight, folks, I am going to walk down the street, the NIC street. You see? Because too many disingenuous people, and they feel when, Prime Minister Alan Chastney has said from the get-go that he is concentrating on the work that needs to be done. And oh, monsieur, yo te fâché, tellement. The prayers that Alan Chastney, the prayer that he read with that lady on another TV station. Oh, yo te désolé, monsieur. But why are they so désolé? I mean, we're supposed to be a Christian country. We're supposed to believe in forgiveness. And out of everything that Prime Minister Alan Chastney said in his prayer to the nation, he asked for forgiveness from anyone he may have offended. Oh, that tickled them. Oh, who you did what? But that's what you do when you pray. You go to church. All those that say they go to church and they go to men's retreat and all kind of thing. When you go to church, you beg for forgiveness for your sins. You pray to God. You ask Mary or whoever it is you want, who you pray to intercede on your behalf. In what I have done, you remember the Catholic thing? In what I have done and in what I have failed to do. And I ask Blessed Mary, ever Virgin, all the angels and saints, whatever you have transgressed. Sometimes you offend people. You don't even know that you do. Some people take things to heart. Some people misinterpret what you said. Some people misunderstand. Sometimes you're having a bad moment and you offend someone. So Alan Chastney said, anybody I offended, forgive me. You know, like they like to say so much, let he or she, you know where I'm going with that, who is without sin, cast the first stone. But that's just the sidetrack, man. That's just Papi show. Because you know, if Alan Chastney says, this is a phone, you know they tell him that's not a phone. They say, you lie! That's not a phone. If the IMF says anything in favor of the government of St. Lucia, if the World Health Organization says anything in favor, if anybody says anything in favor of St. Lucia, the World Bank, if the technocrats and the experts in the Ministry of Finance give favorable figures for the government of St. Lucia, if the Statistics Department says that unemployment is down significantly and they produce the figures, all of these people, every one of them, how dare you say anything in support of this government? We're coming after you like a ton of bricks. You're incompetent. You are influenced by Chastney, by the government. The government is threatening you. The government gave the IMF wrong figures. They fabricated numbers. Everything. Doesn't matter what the government does. People, open your eyes. It's so predictable now. So predictable. I really don't know who they expect to believe this nonsense now. So anyway, we've heard so much about Cabot. It's the SLP's baby for some time now. And although I've dealt with it before, I thought it would be very important to lay the facts on you again, but a little bit more facts. Because the SLP and its satellites, they expect you to forget. And they will keep repeating the same nonsense over and over and over again. Remember Raffles? You all remember Raffles? Raffles had almost the same plan. Almost the same plan. You didn't have any complaints, did you? Nobody was concerned about the environment, about Amerindian burial sites and artifacts, or access to the beach. None of that. But Raffles went into problems, and it was in receivership. Receivership means that they're looking for a buyer. There's somebody, a company, an individual who's handling their property and has it on the market. Is going to arrange for the sale or the disposal of the property. So Cabot buys the old Raffles. There's some modifications to it, but in essence, the same property, basically the same plan. All of a sudden, messieurs, I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. You want to zoom in on me there a little bit? All of a sudden, all types of problems, all types of questions, all types of accusations, all type of burial grounds, they took bagay. But what, came into the mix a little more was that Cabot, in coming into St. Lucia, an investor in tourism market, got a loan from the NIC, National Insurance Corporation, for $10 million US, about 30 million EC. Messieurs, the fellas make noise. They jumping up and down, even up to today. Same thing. Cabot taking the taxpayers' money, the people pension money. Oh God, stop insulting the St. Lucians. Stop. Stop. But you see, the thing is, where did I write it down now? You see, sometimes you need to write stuff, and when you write it down, you don't see it. Yeah, I remember anyway. You see, for the NIC to make money, to keep going, to pay benefits, they have to invest. I've told you so before, but isn't that logical? When you put your money in the bank, you deposit your money in the bank, you get interest, don't you? Where do you think that interest comes from? The money doesn't just stay in the vault and multiply. The monies that you deposit allows the bank to make loans to businesses, to other individuals, to buy a car. Why do you think you pay interest? Well, the interest you get if you have your money deposited in the bank is not the same interest that the bank charges. So the bank makes money on you. They make money on your money. But you're making a little bit more, but until kaka done. So the NIC now loans Cabot 10 million US dollars, about 30 million. The fellas out of their mind. But if NIC deposits that money in the bank or just leaves that money in the bank, the interest they're going to earn on it is something like about 0.25%, about 0.25%. But if they invest over time, you get an average. But if they invest or if they give out a loan, the interest they would earn is more than putting it in the bank. So why not give out a loan? You understand? But I want to just give you a little bit, before I get into the details, bear with me tonight, folks, because you know right here, on Keeping It Real, I keep it real with you. What about Freedom Bay? Tell us about Freedom Bay, Philip J. Pierre. Tell us about that. But I want to give you some info today. Golf Around the World 2019. Let's go with the first photo. Let me give you some info about Cabot Lynx. Now I want you to zoom in on the highlighted section that I have there on screen. Move it to the what? To the right? That's right. Zoom in a little bit more. They have people with big screen TVs. Zoom in some more. Can you zoom in some more? Yeah. Move it to the right. Move it to the right a little bit. And down a little bit. Yeah. Folks, you see that highlighted line there which says golf courses? 38,864. That is the number of golf courses in the world as of 2019. 38,864 golf courses in 209 countries. The line above that, 209 countries in the world. I want you to go to the next because I want you to understand who Cabot is. I'm not getting paid. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't know anybody there. I've never met anybody from Cabot. But I thought it would be important that you get the information. Now this here is from Golf Digest. 3 Cape Breton courses crack Golf Digest top 100 list. And that means the top 100 golf courses in the world, 3 of them are in Cape Breton. That's in Northeast Canada. Okay? Northeast Canada. I want you to look at the highlighted portion I have there. Cabot Cliffs in Inverness, which opened in June 2016, now ranks in the top 10 at number 9 on the list compared to its ranking last year in 2018 at number 19. So in 1 year, it moved up in the top 100 in the world to number 9. If you know anything about golf, more than I do, you know that there's a lot of competition in the golf world to get rated in the top 100 and to be in the top 10 out of the top 100. That's a MAPP operation. That's no Mickey Mouse thing going on there. But I wanted you to get a feel again for Cabot Lynx. So I got a little video. You know, you do your research, do your thing. Because I don't know anything about Cabot Lynx. They came to St. Lucia, okay, it's another investment. I'm not directly involved with anything that's going on there. So all the noise, say, kite mwen we, kisana we. Let my kite zye me tweet poa mwen. So I did. I went online, Google. A little short video about Cabot Lynx. Roll Cabot.
For golfers, the greatest meeting of land and sea in North America might no longer be the Monterey Peninsula. It might just be tiny Inverness, Nova Scotia, along the Canadian shoreline of the Gulf of St. Lawrence, around the Horn from the Atlantic Ocean. This area is home to two dramatic new golf courses that offer all the challenge and scenery of Pebble Beach and Cypress Point, and then some. The slightly older of the two courses is called Cabot Lynx, and it was designed and built by Canadian golf architect Rod Whitman. It starts and ends on genuine sand dunes that were artificially reshaped to promote some really fun bump and run play. Players will also encounter marshland and a tidal basin called McIsaac's Pond, plus 6 thrilling holes along the ocean's edge that will make them taste the salt spray. A mile north and on higher bluffs is the second course, Cabot Cliffs. This 18-hole design is a phenomenal accomplishment by the American team of Bill Coore and Ben Crenshaw, and it features a collection of holes unlike any this famous duo have created before. One hole tumbles from sand dunes into a river valley. Another plays from dense pines to a green backdrop by the shimmering Gulf of St. Lawrence. And the final 3 holes here are as pulse-pounding as any in golf. The par 3 16th hole plays over a deep ocean cove. The par 4 17th has a daunting blind tee shot to a clifftop fairway. And the par 5 18th heads south along the coast with ocean ravines gnawing into the fairway at critical points. These are young resort courses, but already world-class. Cabot Lynx is ranked 93rd on Golf Digest's list of the world's 100 greatest golf courses, and Cabot Cliffs is ranked 19th. That tells you something.
And that's the authority on golf around the world, Golf Digest. That's like the Bible location for golf. But that report was in 2018, I believe, so the numbers were just a little bit off. The rankings have increased, as I said earlier. But that's Cabot Lynx. But I want you now to understand the authority, what gives the National Insurance Corporation the authority to give a loan, to invest, to buy property, to buy land, or to do whatever it does with its surplus funds, because they just can't go and do whatever. There is the National Insurance Corporation Act. And the Act says what they can do with the money. That's how you do things, you know. You don't just have a company or corporation there and they're just doing what they want. There must be, you know, rules and regulations. So let's go to that page there. NIC monies. There you go. Investment of surplus monies. Look at number 2. Let's just go right away to number 2, and you can scroll up there a little bit. The investment committee shall have the power to give general or specific directions to the board on the investment of monies in the fund. So let's go to number 2. Subject to any general or specific direction of cabinet, the surplus monies in the fund may be invested in any of the following. Let's go. Now the green stuff you see there, okay, just for you to see, so we can direct the attention of the satellites and the hakalaks, because they don't like to see. They've been drinking the Kool-Aid. Lumière toi force yo. Yo pattern la 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 la. A. What can the NIC do with the monies, surplus funds? Acquisition and development of land. B. The purchase, construction, and rental of buildings. C. What does C say, folks? Loans. What does C say? Loans. What did the NIC give to Cabot? A loan. Okay, not a loan, you know. A loan. Right. D. government bonds and securities. Didn't NIC give government $100 million payment recently to cover bonds? SLP ball! Quand dis me oui Madeleine. But 9 months before, they took a loan to cover as a bridging facility. Membaila. And they can purchase shares and debentures in bodies corporate. They can invest on Wall Street. They can buy shares. But still, this just says what they can invest in. But what controls that? Can they put all the money in it? Can they put a little bit? Can all the money go into loans? Or can it go all into shares? Or is it all going into foreign investment or regional or whatever? Well, would you know? National Insurance Corporation has guidelines for the investment of monies. Give me the first page. There we go. What does it say there? Investment policy and guidelines. National Insurance. Now, hold on there, folks. It was revised in 2018, but in essence, it's the same thing, same guidelines that existed when who was there? Emma Hippolyte. That's right, remember her? Emma Hippolyte. Same Emma Hippolyte. Même se weg sala ite ka suiv. Give me the next page. I want you to see the table of contents in which I have highlighted specific sections for your attention. Hold it right there. Hold it there. Objectives of the fund, because I want you to understand what the guidelines say. The other one, the need to invest. Down below, what does it say? Tourism. Wow. And below that, limits on investment, all the controls. Let's go to the next page. Yeah. Objectives of the National Insurance Corporation. We'll go to the second. Well, let's read the first. The National Insurance Act number 10 of 1978 established, via the National Insurance Fund, a system of national insurance designated to provide its members with some degree of protection from certain risks entailed by or associated with old age. So this is what it covers: old age, sickness, occupational, and other hazards. This has been achieved through the collection of contributions and other income and the payment of various benefits in the event of sickness, invalidity, maternity, hospitalization, survivorship, retirement, injury, and death. The National Insurance Act number 10 of 1978 was replaced by the National Insurance Corporation Act number 18 of 2000. However, listen well, folks, read along with me, class. The objectives of the National Insurance Corporation remained unchanged. Monies in the fund which are surplus to current needs. So si on est pli là, passé yo besoin à présent, the current needs are to be invested in accordance with Section 21 of the 2000 Act, now consolidated into the National Insurance Corporation Act 16.0. Let's go down, scroll down for them. The need to invest. Contribution, listen to what I explained many times before. Contributions paid into the National Insurance Corporation must be available to meet the various benefit claims, the claims you make to the National Insurance Corporation, but in particular, pension obligations as they arise in the future. However, given the incidence of inflation, because if you put in money in and 20 years from now they have to pay you from that, the cost of pension or the purchasing power 20 years ago is not the same purchasing power now. It's affected by inflation. So they have to make more money than what you deposited. How do they make that more money? Invest. 2, the expected decline over time in the ratio of active contributors by pensioner. It is imperative that monies be invested to allow the National Insurance Corporation to 1, increase the level of benefits in payment to offset inflation, and 2, supplement contributions to meet future pension obligations. Let's go down to the next page. Next page. How can they invest? Foreign investments. Now the monies that are available to invest, how much can go to foreign investments? 15 to 30%. Regional investments and extra regional investments, which means out of the region, right? This dictates everything there. Let's go down how the investment, what the credit score is. Regional investments, 10 to 15%. There we go. Let's go down still. Let's go down, next page. There we go. Let's scroll down. It tells you all that you need to see, the credit reports, extra regional investments. And it tells you U.S. large, mid, small capital, venture and growth stocks, U.S. fixed income instruments, international equities, mutual funds, index funds, exchange, tra-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la, la-la-la-la. Ou même ou pas même bien qu'on ça même comme moi. Moi fait un commerce l'école, mais ça même bien compter si moi servi douette moi so. But you get the idea, folks. Oh, these are the guidelines that the National Insurance Corporation works under. Let's go to that page you just pulled up there. So, to qualify for approval, institutions must, listen to this now, the strict guidelines. They must have been in operation for a minimum of 20 years, if you're buying stocks and whatever. Have at least US 20 billion in assets under management. Ça pas pièce T company ou ça. Ça go ma pipi. Have adequate insurance in the event of loss. So you see how deliberate and how careful the NIC is. We're going to get to that in a while. Provide proof of relevant certification. You know, all these investment companies in the States and all that, they have to be certified. They have to be, so you just can't go out there and say you invest in billions of dollars in people's money. You must meet certain criteria. Have provided audited financial statements on as requested. So if NIC wants to see their books or whatever, they want to see. And have name recognition. Not any fly-by-night or any company nobody's heard about. Right? And these are the benchmarks from the different companies. All Standard & Poor's, Lehman Brothers, you know. Tout by la, mutual funds, index funds. Next page. Tourism. Wow. Here we go now. We're getting hot, folks. We're getting hot. In addition to the raison d'etre or the reason of being or whatever, as legislated, the National Insurance Corporation serves a secondary but equally important role. It serves as a financial intermediary in that it mandates savings which can be channeled into the productive sectors of the economy. And one of those productive sectors is tourism. Given that tourism is the one major area whose development can have the greatest positive effect on the local economy. Slow down. Read that again, folks. Given that tourism is the one major area whose development can have the greatest positive effect on the local economy, it is imperative that we emphasize investment therein. Oh my gosh! NIC can invest in tourism? Now look at the highlighted section here. Allocation to this and other productive sectors is indispensable in stimulating growth, that's growth in the economy, which is essential if the National Insurance Corporation is to perpetuate itself, to keep going. Any company to keep going, you have to grow, you have to make profits, you have to make money. To remain viable, the National Insurance Corporation must grow, both in terms of registered contributors and assets to support claims. Well. Look at this. Investment objectives in order of safety. There must be safety, liquidity, and yield. Investments will depend on the availability of suitable and safe opportunities. So now tell me, folks, let's go to the next page. New companies, tourist related. Is Cabot a new company in St. Lucia? Yes. The NIC should not participate in the equity, that means funding, of startup companies. However, the NIC can participate via fixed income instruments. And what does that break down to be? Loans or bonds, which should be appropriately secured and which would ordinarily have first claim on the company's assets. So if the company goes bankrupt, even though there are other companies that they owe money, that they owe whatever, that the NIC would be the first, you get what they call it first drawdown. You would be the first to get your monies from them. Whoever else is after, that's up to them. So these are the terms of the contract that the NIC would sign with you. And they would verify that nobody else has. This through the investigative process. Right? Limits on investment, blah, 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 blah. Let's go to the next page. So it says asset categories: cash, they can give less than 1%, fixed deposits, direct lending, government lending, land building, equity, foreign investment. Look at the percentages there. It tells them how much they can put in percentage-wise. So it's not any pappy show thing that's going on with NIC. But some people, oh, 10 million. But guess what? It says up there, go to the previous page. Scroll up a little bit. Scroll up a little bit. Yes, okay. At the top there, you see, they can participate via fixed income instruments, loans and bonds. And the next line, it says, which should be appropriately secured. Which should be appropriately secured. Okay. The loan is for 10 million US dollars. The National Insurance Corporation has secured that loan from Cabot with 3 times, 300% the value of the loan. 30 million US dollars security. The land that is used for security is 3 times the value of the loan. Is that not secured? If Cabot goes belly up today or tomorrow, doesn't the NIC have land worth 3 times the property, the loan? In fact, some people might say they would wish the company would go bankrupt or fail so the NIC could get 3 times its money. Which bank you go to that charges you that? 100%? So they're secured. So what's all the nonsense talk about they're giving our money, the money is secured? It's safe. It is safe, folks. And that is the end of that for that Cabot nonsense that's been spoken about there by the SLP. Oh, the people's NIC, the government giving loan. It's an investment. Stop being hoodwinked. Stop being bluffed. Las Palais Betis. We're going to take our first break. We'll be right back, folks. welcome back, folks. You may have been hearing some audio issues there, and we're back here to me. I just wanted to make an observation tonight, and I mentioned it to some people, and they said, you know what, it's really true. But you know, in this COVID pandemic times, great. In this COVID pandemic times, you know, we've been told to sanitize our hands, hand sanitizer all over the place, there's alcohol all over the place. Wash your hands with soap and water at least 15, 20 seconds. Social distancing. Wear a mask when out in public or wherever. And we see all of these measures, all of these protocols that are put in place everywhere. And we feel that we're doing the right thing. The professionals have told us what to do. But have you made an observation, folks? I'm going to ask you a little question. Keep it real with you. Because I've made an observation. And the people I've spoken to weren't really aware of it. But when you bring it to their attention, it's like, you know what, you're right. Folks, with all of what we've been doing to safeguard ourselves from this coronavirus, do you realize that since February or March up to now, well, I'm saying my observation, I haven't seen anybody with the flu, you know. Oh, you realize that? Could it be that taking all of these precautions are really working? That inadvertently, because we have become so concerned about the coronavirus, that hand sanitation and hand washing and the masks and social distancing have all but wiped out the flu this season? So that tells you something. And then, of course, the results that we have here tells you something about what we're doing, what we've been encouraged to do, what the authorities in the Ministry of Health, the CMO, the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Health, the Minister of Health, and all the other professionals have been pounding at us. Hand sanitizing, hand washing, social distancing, masks. Tell me if that ain't true. I haven't seen anybody with the flu yet. So we're going to move on now. Another thing that I forgot from last week. You know, we want to criticize a lot, make a lot of noise, but I must say kudos to the police for their hard work, for their performance last week Sunday when there was this failed whatever it was. The police were patient, the police were professional, the police did their job. And kudos to them for that. And too often, we want to condemn the police, but too often we also fail to congratulate them when they do an exceptionally good job or when they do a good job. And there are many police officers out there that I know personally, having been a police officer, who do a darn good job every day. But there's some rotten eggs out there. Rotten eggs. Rotten eggs. Rotten. Just like anywhere else. Just like in society. Because I remember from police training school, the police force, the public service, is a reflection of the society from whence they came. So, we hear the concerns about opening up. I can tell you for sure, I don't think that the chief medical officer or the minister of health or the prime minister sleep very well at night thinking about the possibilities and what can happen, because COVID hasn't gone. It hasn't disappeared. It's going to be with us for a while. Whether we open, whether we don't open. But if we don't open, businesses will die. People will continue to remain out of work. And we'll have a bigger calamity on our hands. Wouldn't you say that? The business owners are dying, they're crying, they're bawling. They're bawling like cows to open everywhere in the world, not just St. Lucia, everywhere in the world. And you have to wonder about the businesses that were on the brink. Or you have to wonder about the hotels or the people working at the hotels who are apprehensive about how much longer this is going to go on. They want to open. Because every day that you don't open makes it harder to come back when they do open. So I want you, folks, because we have all level of professional and avocat sans papier and chief medical officers and medical experts and those who want their opinion, their professional opinion, to override that of the chief medical officer or the professionals who advise from the WHO, World Health Organization, or from PAHO, the Pan American Health Organization, because these are all the agencies and organizations that our Ministry of Health and the professionals there and the Minister of Health and the Chief Medical Officer consult with on a daily basis. All countries, St. Lucia consults with Trinidad, with Barbados, any country, to find out what they're doing with Jamaica. The Zoom meetings every day, every week, every month since this has started. Because people want to know what's going on. Hey, what have you done over there? Hey, we did this in Bridgetown and that worked, or we did this and it didn't work. Just like if you're a mechanic, if you're a car enthusiast, if you're a computer enthusiast, you go online, you go to the computer bulletin boards or to the Facebook pages or groups that deal with these different professions. Or if you're a gamer, you go to a gaming room on Facebook or elsewhere, you discuss, well, you get to that level, you have to look out for when the green man comes out there and you do this. Same thing they do in health, same thing mechanics do, same thing pilots do, same thing doctors do, nurses. They read books. You might be interested in, games. You go on YouTube, you check those out. You're interested in cars, you go YouTube, check out engines. Check out how somebody modded, a vehicle in Phoenix, Arizona, or in Australia. Same thing the medical profession does. But what we have to understand is that at some point along the way, somebody is going to have to make a decision. And all the noise out there, all the talk out there, it boils down to the chief medical officer, the minister of health, the prime minister, whoever the people are, to make that decision. And the fact remains that there are many different trends of thought. So just because you may have been a previous CMO, or you may have been a doctor before, doesn't mean that your voice reigns supreme. It's our current CMO who is in the seat right now. Respect due. Because when you were there, you expected respect for your position and your experience. And people can disagree, but at some point, you still have to make a decision. So I want to go to an interview, not with our chief medical officer, but with Dr. Stephen King a few weeks ago with an external news agency. It was a video interview, and I have a few excerpts from there. And I want you to compare the responses then to a lot of what has been said in St. Lucia now. I want you to do that. So let's go to the first clip out of that interview. Roll it.
Is it safe to say that the worst of the coronavirus is behind us, or some may even be saying we've defeated this?
No, we cannot say we've defeated the coronavirus. The road ahead of us is still long, because we're going to have to develop a new normal of living with this coronavirus. A vaccine is the next game-changing strategy, but even the vaccine may come with its own issues, such as incomplete protection and even limited protection in terms of years of protection. So I think we're going to have to learn to live with this SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus.
We have to, Dr. King, we have to learn to live with this because, like I said before, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere next month. This is going to be around for a while. So we have to live with it. And how do we live with it? By adjusting our behavior. But wait! Wasn't it Prime Minister Alan Chastney who said that in March? Wasn't it the CMO who said that as well? Wasn't it the Minister of Health who said that as well? But everybody out there is doing as if nobody, all the praise that was given before, and is verifiable with the kudos that have been given to St. Lucia in the region and in the world, notwithstanding that a certain person said that St. Lucia was the worst prepared. St. Lucia went from the worst prepared, and he was contradicted by his member, to one of the best prepared, not only in the region, but in the world. How in tarnation did that happen? Seems that our people over here, the Prime Minister, the CMO, Minister of Health, the professionals in our Ministry of Health, know a thing or two. And they took the right measures at the right times. But you wouldn't, oh no, you wouldn't know that listening to those people out there. Oh, close the island, close the country, close the country. Ufeme, open it, open it. When you say you're going to open it, close it. But yeah, it's too soon. Oi. Dr. King. But for some people out there, you'd believe that doing what this government is doing is going to be the end of the world. Oh my God, people are dying. Remember that? They're out there holding their head as if the sky, I don't know. What is it? I don't know. Let's keep it real. Stop falling for the nonsense. But then again, Dr. King, but hold on, the new normal. That's right, the new normal. This means, what's the new normal? We've been hearing that over and over again, but almost as if it's something new. But the new normal, hand sanitizer, wash your hands, masks in public places. What else? Social distancing. Stay at home if you don't need to go out. That's the new normal, folks. You go to a business, you go anywhere else, they have hand sanitizer there. So many people in at a time. You come in, you must have a mask. You've heard it. Spray your hands. That's the new normal. So whether it's now or when we open, the new normal dictates that you have to take preventive measures. But in taking those preventive measures, you have to evaluate your situation. Well, we did this, and that's why there's all of this talk with the WHO, with other countries, with your what's the word I'm looking for? Your counterparts in other countries. Well, we did this, but it didn't quite work. What did you all do over there? That's how we're going to fight this. That's how we're going to fight this. The exchange of information, the exchange of protocols. What worked, what didn't work. And as a matter of fact, that was live on GIS. It was live when there were all of these slides. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. Remember that? All of that, folks. So let's hear some more from that interview. Roll.
What are your thoughts on this, especially the opening up of the borders where we're depending on that tourist dollar from hotspot, the United States, Europe? Give us some thoughts on opening up as early in some places where you are, June 2nd.
So we must open up our economy.
Pause right there. Pause that right there. That's right. We must open up our economy. Folks, we must. But let's continue to start that over again and let's hear.
What are your thoughts on this, especially the opening up of the borders where we're depending on that tourist dollar from hotspot, the United States, Europe? Give us some thoughts on opening up as early in some places where you are, June 2nd.
So we must open up our economies, or we must get back economic activity, because the economic fallout is massive, and it has a lot of socioeconomic impact, as well as, of course, health impacts. So I mean, us in health cannot be blind to the problem that the poor finances and poor economies create on health. So we need to be aware of that. So I think that in terms of how we move forward, for me, the right approach, and many of the countries have outlined this phased approach to opening. You phase your opening of your economy, monitoring infections so that you minimize any spiking of infections, so you don't have to go back into another harsh lockdown, social distancing type environment. So in other words, you're transitioning into living with the virus in a manageable way.
Living with the virus in a manageable way. Dr. King. And then he talked about the phased approach to opening. But didn't we see that? You know, people making all the, why they don't open the place one time? Open the place. Open the place. But that's exactly what was being done. It seems like the CMO knows a thing or two. It seems like the government knows a thing or two. Open the place. What shall stay holding the place open so far? Open everything, man. Free it up. Free up the alcohol. Free up this. Free up. Wasn't that a phased approach we saw, folks? Bit by bit. Hairdressers, barbershops will last, kind of. They opened up the supermarkets. They limited the number of people who could go inside. Then they open up what? Hardware stores. SNS, that kind of thing. Because people may need to do repairs. They may need to buy parts for the toilet, for the plumbing. And you remember that? How your memories... Remember all of that, of course. It's not a new concept. The government was doing that already. Phased opening. So now that we're moving into opening the borders not going over. Private boating is still restricted. There's still restrictions on how you can come in. How many flights coming in now? It's still phased. The airlines themselves are still phased. When you come in, haven't you heard? When you come in, you have to go into quarantine. Measures this government is putting in place, the CMO, Ministry of Health, Minister of Health, Prime Minister, the government of St. Lucia. Isn't that responsible? But of course, what you're hearing out there is like this government is just crazy. Folks, everywhere all over the world, people balling to open. Businesses are crumbling. And the more that crumble, the more people are going to be out of work. It doesn't mean you go there with your jacket and tie or your short pants like we were in June last year. You have to take the precautions. Just like We didn't shut down for chikungunya, but people died from that. Or Zika, try to take precautions. Insect spray, spray some off, put some screens on your windows. Lots of people did that. Keep the door closed. Isn't that true? Try to stay inside as much as possible. Don't go outside. Sounds like the same similar protocols to me. And that's what's going to happen as the borders are open. As the flights come in, what they tell you? They're going to be checking your temperature at the airport. The tourists are going to stay in one hotel. They're going to stay at a hotel. There's only going to be a limited number of hotels that will open initially. Then you'll open maybe the Airbnbs or whatever, because you have to evaluate the measures that you have put in place to see whether they're working. You can't just open everything right away. You have to look and see how things are working. Isn't that so? That's what was said there. That's what was said before by the officials here. We have another one of Dr. King. We have some more. No more. Okay. But in all of this, in people being enthusiastic to open up, in people being concerned about their business, with the officials running here and there and trying to do things, sometimes there are miscommunications. All over the world, we've heard it all over the news. St. Lucia is no exception. One person at a ministry there or something, in all of this, they're trying to implement a protocol here. Somebody do here over there, this, that, amun pattern, amun pak open bien. It happens. It has happened. It's happened in the US. It's happened in Canada. It's happened in the UK. It's happened in Germany, in Spain, in Italy, in France, Portugal, two par two. Hole by hole. But there was a little thing and some statements were made. And Minister of Tourism, Dominic Fede, had to come out and set the record straight and give the information, because sometimes people are so distraught, business owners or people who have been laid off, that things can get lost in the fog. So let's hear Dominic Fede clarify things a little bit. Dominic
The
Fede.
Ministry of Tourism will be working closely with tourism transportation providers in ensuring that they are equipped to execute their duties in the safest possible manner. Meantime, the Minister for Tourism, Information and Broadcasting, Culture and Creative Industries, Honorable Dominic Fede, has reiterated government's commitment to the tourism industry and its stakeholders. The assurance follows concerns expressed by the St. Lucia Hospitality and Tourism Association. Lisa Joseph has that story.
In a letter to Prime Minister Honorable Alan Chasney that was reproduced in the press, President of the SLHTA, Carolyn Chubascoy, sought an audience with the Prime Minister and other relevant ministers on the reopening of the tourism industry and the associated protocols. According to Chubascoy, the Ministry of Tourism failed to consult with the SLHTA and its members on the reopening protocols. Tourism Minister Honorable Dominic Fede has, however, refuted this.
A statement that suggests that there's a lack of consultation is absolutely unfortunate, and I think it goes against the facts or the chronology of the events that have taken place, because in the last 2 months we've met with tourism-related organizations, including the SLHTA and various subsectors, 15 times. We've met even before the tourism industry was shut down in early March with the hotel sector to see exactly where they're at. We've met with the taxi sector, an important subsector of the industry. We've met with the board of the SLHTA to unveil our reopening plans.
Minister Fede revealed that a 9-member task force commissioned by his ministry has 4 representatives of the SLHTA, including the President Carolyn Chubascoy and Chief Executive Officer Nurani Aziz. The SLHTA president has suggested that the requirement for visitors to present a negative COVID-19 test result conducted 48 hours before boarding a flight has created a stalemate between the airlines and the destination. Minister Fede says whilst he appreciates the need for hotels to open, government must lead the charge to a safe reopening.
We are going through a very difficult time. It's a health crisis that the world has never seen. And so what we have to do is, when we are contemplating opening, we've got to do so with the health and safety of the St. Lucian people first in mind. And so I think that we have indicated to hoteliers and in a more official capacity to the SLHTA that we have to ensure that this is done well. Now, the protocols which they spoke of, I think we discussed it with the aviation sector, and it is a real fact that we may have to review those protocols.
Government, the minister says, has been communicating with the airlines to have robust commercial flights into the island in the shortest possible time. However, government will not be strong-armed into a situation that would endanger the lives of citizens.
It clearly shows that the aviation sector does not find the pre-testing protocol to be very practical. But I think that you have to ensure whatever protocol that replaces that should not be done in a scurry, and it should not be done overnight, but it has to be done in a clinical manner, in a manner that is very calculated and measured. Because, Lisa, if we got into the business of reopening and we didn't get it right, and we open up our borders to the epicenter of the virus, now the United States, where the numbers, instead of decreasing, are spiraling, and the public health situation seems to be overwhelmed by what is taking place, it would mean, therefore, that the risk is very, very grave, and you're endangering the workers of the industry, you're endangering the taxi drivers, you're endangering the entire population when those workers go back to their communities.
Minister Fede says he empathizes with the hoteliers, but now is not the time for anyone to push the panic button for a rush to open. The government, he added, is taking a balanced approach and will soon make an announcement on the revision of the protocols. From the Government Information Service, Lisa Joseph reports in.
You see, folks, as I was telling you, lots of businesses, if I can use the St. Lucian word in the vernacular, lots of businesses enragés to open, but the government is being very methodical, very circumspect, very particular about approaching this reopening step by step. So if something happens, you can go back to step number 4. There are certain indicators. Hey, if we get 10 infections there, or if we get too many infections there, or if something doesn't work, we adjust, we do this, because we moving in a phased way. So if the situation goes back to what it was before, so if we say, if we have no infections in St. Lucia for 21 days, we do X. If we have an infection, then it means 21 days does not exist anymore. We go back to B. 21 days comes again, we go back to. So you understand what it is. If you have an umbrella, it's raining. If it rains, you pop up the umbrella. If it stops raining, you take down the umbrella. Same thing, you have your specific instances and what you do based on what happens on the ground. So, we're going to take a break. Okay, folks. Guys say we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. We're going to take your calls as well, and I have, as promised always, some photos. Don't forget the number 450-0777, and at the end of it all, I have an apology to make. Right back after.
Avoid the congestion and traffic associated with Castries City and Rodney Bay shopping and come to Gablewoods Mall. We have everything you'd possibly want, from a sprawling supermarket to a complete furniture store, from your choice of elegant boutiques to professional photography, dry cleaning, a hardware store, medical facilities, drugstores, hair and beauty salons, an eyewear center, and so much more. We truly do have it all, along with a food court which provides sumptuous meals and free Wi-Fi while you dine. Parking is plentiful and shopping times most convenient. Come to Gablewoods Mall. We're the mall that started it all.
Bryce water tanks are of top quality and highly durable.
It's a monolithic tank, meaning it's just one unit, which makes it stronger than the other tanks, which comes in 2 pieces. It also carries a Hellguard lining, which is FDA approved.
Bryce and Company, build for living, build for life.
Tibanan Caribbean Bistro and Bar, nestled within Coco Palm, a boutique hotel in the heart of entertainment capital Rodney Bay, offers a truly unique experience with the best food, drinks, and music. Open 7 a.m. to 12 midnight daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Tibanan specializes in authentic French Caribbean cuisine, delectable tropical cocktails, and the best live entertainment on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Tibanan also offers catering for weddings, special occasions, and conferences. For reservations, call 456-2800 or email reservations@coco-resorts.com. Tibanan Caribbean Bistro and Bar, where passion meets quality.
Tibanan Caribbean Bistro is now open for takeaway and delivery only. Place your orders by calling 456-2866 or 724-9309 or email orders@coco-resorts.com. Takeaway orders to be collected at hotel reception area and delivery fees vary on your location.
And welcome back, folks. Final segment of Keeping It Real for tonight. Tuesday, the 23rd day of June 2020, and tonight's episode is called Mako Joué. And that's all for the benefit of the SLP. Wants to look over the shoulders of the government after they've been kicked out of office by the people of St. Lucia, voted out, lack of performance, lack of confidence in their agenda, in their policies, in how they were running the country. But now all of a sudden they're gurus and they can come up with all the strategies and all the demands of this current government, who has been given a mandate by the majority of the people of St. Lucia to run the affairs of state. You good to go there with that? Put it up on screen there, please. There we go, folks. Remember that? Or those of you who didn't see it, the different phases. What's happening and how you go to what phase. Yeah, they're beautiful, beautiful. Move left a little bit. Phase 1A, slow the spread. 1B, essential services. Remember that? Only essential services were opening. That's what, since March? It's not on there. But since March, folks, you all remember that? Then minimal operations, what it says, all the steps that the government took. 10-hour curfew, 7 to 5, you see it in the middle there? Phase 3, incremental phase, reopening of businesses. Isn't that the same thing? The government has a solid plan. Solid plan. Look at phase 4, moving forward, what does it say? Introduction of service industries, local economy fully resumed as new normal. Oh, you heard? New normal. As if it's a new thing he's saying there. All that there already since March. Uwaikuma. Look, 5. Phase 5. Finding our new normal and all the conditions there, everything that you do. Depi Juasala. But you would believe that the government's not doing nothing if you listen to these purveyors of doom and gloom. Oh my God, my governor, Munkaimo, Munya. Old ideas like that, scare tactics should be flushed. Should be flushed away. Have no place in our society. Because all they're designed to do is to make people afraid. What, no water? There's water. The people who pushing all of this nonsense out there, trying to scare the people of St. Lucia, trying to make the government of St. Lucia trying to make the government of St. Lucia put it up again so that they can see it's been around and it's on the website. Put it up, that's right. A measured and phased approach focusing on health, safety, and the general public well-being. Milila! Milila! In fact, some people would like some of those measures to be long-term. Yes? Some people would love for the curfew to stay in. I don't have a problem with the curfew. But you know, folks, it's now at midnight to 5. So what's that? Another phase again. You're letting businesses open, observing what happens. Everyone, open, man. Why Shasne don't take off the curfew, man? Why you don't take off the curfew? Shasne. You see why? And you're hearing it from all over. The same things, you know, that are being done in St. Lucia. You're hearing it all over the world. Phased approach. Gradual reopening. You can take that down now. Folks, many wonderful things are happening anyway, regardless. New terminal and new works at UNORA International Airport have started. They've started. They have started. And remember in February, I reported to you about works that had commenced, the groundbreaking ceremony of the new Wasco Southern Office. And there it was revealed a number of things that will be happening. And one of them, in the south, is the Grace Intake Viewfort Water Supply Redevelopment Project. Unfortunately, I don't have it on screen, which is going to cost a total of $24.1 million US, which is 65.2 million EC dollars. And initially, well, what this is designed to do, of course, is to take St. Lucia into the new world, the south. Because if you're going to have all that development there, if you're going to have hotels, if you're going to have businesses, if you're going to have a vibrant economy, you must have water. And it was since after World War II or whatever that the water infrastructure down there was set up. And the amount, if I remember correctly, is 1 to 1.5 million gallons of water a day currently the system can provide. And after this project, they will be able to provide 4 million gallons of water a day. It will produce 4 million gallons of water. Makaway, but it's there. Lots of works. Okay? That's going to set things in motion for further development in the south. Put the number up, folks. 450-07777. And of course, I want to tell you before I go tonight, Prime Minister Alan Shasne did a slamming presentation of his budget tonight, which ended just, about an hour and 20 minutes ago. He was on his feet from about 5:15 until 8:45 tonight, just about. Look out for it. And listen to the doom and gloom again, folks. You'll hear it, don't worry. The budget debate is about to start tomorrow. And you'll hear it. 450-0777. There it is. 1.5 million will increase to 4 million gallons per day. Now remember, I made a promise to you folks that every week I will update you on the progress of the St. Jude's Hospital. You have the photos for them? I have a call. We have a call, folks. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real. Good night.
Hello, good night.
Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Yeah. Good night, Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir. Good night to you.
Right. Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir.
I love your observation tonight.
Thank you.
It was fantastic.
Which one was it?
Observation on the common blue.
Yes.
It is a fantastic observation because, if I may add, the U.S. had 22,000 plus deaths for last year. That's 2019, before the COVID, right? And that's obviously with the common flu, right? This thing is online. Everybody could Google it for themselves.
Yeah.
And apparently nobody is actually, making the research for them to check it out for themselves. So your observation on people, local people down here, not complaining about the common flu, it says it all.
Yep.
When you have 22,000 plus people, dying, in the U.S., not because of COVID, but that was before COVID, that was 2019, that tells you a lot. That says a lot in volume.
Yeah.
However, I also must, commend you on this tape that you've been rolling every now and then on the press secretary of the former prime minister interviewing the former prime minister Daniel Pierre, right? The Japierre, sorry, the former prime minister. And this is a fantastic piece because what it says is that the reason why the SLP failed was because, as the prime minister made it, and he told the truth, it's obvious because, nobody was borrowing. There was no money to make things happen.
That is right.
Okay?
That is
but
right.
what I want you to do, Mr. Williams, is to also roll the other tape where he claims, the prime minister claimed that, and the BBC took it because I heard it on the BBC, whereas he was going to stop, the former prime minister said that he was going to stop the international call from investing in St. Lucia. I want you to roll that tape every time you have your show.
Okay.
God bless.
Okay, thank you very much,
Talk
caller.
to you later.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thanks for keeping it real. So I want to go to before we go to the St. Jude Hospital photos, I want to bring something to your attention. Recently in the House, there was this talk about, and recently over the past weekend, with all the tralala that was going on and everything, this government borrowed the most in 4 years in the history of St. Lucia in 4 years. Well, I have some figures there for you all, folks. In 1997, of course, when the previous administration came in, the first time, the SLP, 1997 to 2001, I wonder why they call elections early. You all had such a huge mandate. Zote ka commencé ped, si po. So zote pe. Yo pe. Why we heard that before? That was a campaign slogan, of course. 1997 to 2001, St. Lucia's debt was $591 million. It increased to $915 million, an increase by $324 million, 55% increase under the SLP. From 2001 to 2006, SLP again, it went from $915 million to $1.663 billion, an increase of $748 million, percentage increase of 82%. That's the two SLP terms. The UWP came in 2006 to 2011 from $1.663 billion to $2.338 billion, an increase of $675 million, 41% increase. And this government, they're talking about the most in 4 years, from $2.338 million to $3.091 billion, $2.3 billion to $3.09 billion, an increase of $753 million, an increase of 32%. Now, that's 2011 no, that's SLP again. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. UWP 2006 to 2011, 1.6 billion to 2.3 billion, an increase of 675 million. An increase percentage-wise of 41%. 2011 to 2016, SLP started at 2.3 billion, ended up at 3.09 billion, an increase of $753 million. Now this current government, oh, I have a different scale here. June 2016, it was 2.85, down all the way to 3.2. 2.85, that's 300 million, 300.8 million dollars, this current government in 4 years. 300.8, let's say $300.1 million. But 300 and something million, eh? In 1997 to 2001, SLP increased the debt by 324 million. In 2001 to 2006, they increased it by 748 million. In 2011 to 2016, the SLP increased it by 753 million. Ou pas ça fait maths? Pas ça fait maths? Anyway, let's see the Wasco Southern Office photos, the construction site. That's right there, folks. Let's go to the next one. Things are taking shape down there in Viewfort. People at work. No cost overruns on that. Everything's flowing smoothly. Next one. There you go, folks. It's Mullah Chic area in the background there. Or wherever. I'm not a Viewfort guy. There we go. Construction at the Wasco Southern Headquarters or Southern Office. After many years of cramped office space back and forth in the south, Wasco is finally building their own home, their own office complex. Here we go, folks. Fondation, toute qualité bail ka monter là. And the last one, we're ready for the last one. And folks, the final photo, and this is what it's going to look like by the end of this year. There we go, folks. Can you believe it? Beautiful. More development in the south, and this is just an indication of how the south is going to look. A lot of people are going to be moving back to the south. I can tell you that. And of course, not to be outdone, St. Jude's, let's go with the photos. Promise you every week, folks. There we go. That's from the drone. Look at that, folks. Look at that. Now they start clearing out the internals, you know, the support mechanisms they have there to hold up the floors and the ceiling, the roof. That's way up, eh? That's a drone on the left side. Go back to that photo there. On the left side, that's, there we go. That's the entrance on the left there. And to the back on the right side of the screen, that's the two, I think one's dialysis and the other one something else. And you can see the road there on the left side. That takes you to the brewery if you move in left. If you come in from Greece, that's correct? Don't laugh at me in there, man. Head into the brewery and Latoni and those areas over there. Next photo. There we go, folks. You can see the insides are being cleared. If you look at the top of your screen, you can see all the bamboo that's used to support during the construction phase. That's being cleaned out. There we go, folks. You see that? They're going to be putting up the walls, the cladding and everything, because this is the frame. It's almost done. They're expecting by the end of July that this will be completed, and then they'll be doing the plumbing, the electrical, that sort of thing. There we go, folks. See that big warehouse in the right there, that big building? They had stuff in warehouses that were accruing rent all over the island. And they had a warehouse there that was practically empty. Go figure. There we go, folks. Boom! There we go. And that's the drone shot. Have a look at that, folks. See? I'm giving it to you from all angles, you know, so you can see what's happening all around, folks. All around. You don't have to go down there to see. You just tune in every Tuesday night, or if you miss it on a Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m., repeat of Keeping It Real. That's it, folks. Right there. Video of what's happening at say. Did you speed up my video, man? You're trying to sneak on the time. Don't try that, you know, and pay attention. There you go, folks. It's like a helicopter. There'll be a helipad on top of there too. There we go, folks. Right back to me. But as I told you, I have an apology to make. Maybe if we could get one more call. We have a call there? We have a call? Yes, we have a call. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, I had to call up again, right?
Oh, you're calling back. Great.
Yeah, I am calling back because you put my friend on the spotlight tonight.
Who's that?
The former CMO.
Oh, I did.
Government CMO. You did. You
what
did.
spot? What spot?
I don't want to call names, but he's I cover up for nobody. I agree with you because I cover up for nobody. You know, this guy was in an interview a couple months ago, you know, a couple weeks ago, saying, you know, to some foreign anchor person, journalist, how, you know, he agreed about the what's been put in place by the World Health, you know, organization. Mm-hmm. But yet still, he's coming off on a local talk show about a week afterwards, saying that, you know, how he wants to open up the country, how it's ridiculous the way that the government is handling it and everything else. That's what you call, you know, pissing in your eyes and calling it rain.
Two-faced.
Two-faced.
Well, you see, the thing is, caller, some people have their own motives. They have their own agenda. And they have reasons behind it. And when you start to understand the background stories behind all of these things, then you understand. Maybe one of these days we'll talk.
Well, the truth is, right, Mr. Williams, my friend, he'd been lurking in the background for a long, long time. Not just this time. 4 years ago, he'd been lurking in the background, you know, with a particular, well, I could say SLP. He'd been knocking on the door, and his friends, including people like me, have been holding him back, and family have been holding him back.
Well, you've been holding people back, man?
Well, you know, put it like that. You know, I do not support the Labour Party.
You have 30 seconds, caller.
Big time. I do not support the Labour Party because they do not have proper mandate to present to the people.
Well, that's your
Hence
right.
The reason
that's
why.
your right, caller. That's your
Hence
right.
the reason why. You know, I believe in this country, and I'm a St. Lucian, and I'm going to vote for any person who has a vision like Dr. Alan Shaftney. But, you know, to put it in a nutshell, you really put him on the spot, but you're correct because you're doing your job good. Bye.
Thank you very much, caller. Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Thanks for keeping it real. So tonight, folks, I was telling you that I have an apology to make. Sincere apology. And this apology is to the SLP, St. Lucia Labour Party. And I apologize for the government opening the OKEU hospital, because that happened much to their chagrin. And I know they saw stars for days because they're still upset. And you can tell that they're upset by the statements they make. And they failed. They failed to open it. All they did was have a naming ceremony. Open OKEU! Open OKEU! Y'all can't open it. But when you do open it, what happened to me there, man? What happened to me? My final, last hurrah. You have the script. The guy's trying to sabotage me on my last minute. They're trying to cut me off. You know, open OKEU. When everybody has moved now, they have a problem. You know? They failed. And they want this government to fail. Drop it. That's right. Drop it again. That's right, folks. They failed. They failed. And the people of St. Lucia said in no uncertain terms that you failed. And we need a new captain. We need a new government, new party in power. And that's what happened. And whether you like it or not, get over it. Chagrin de pouvoir is a serious, sometimes that could hurt you more than COVID, you know. Anyway, folks, that's it for tonight. Prime Minister Alan Chasney is going to be back in the house with the other ministers of government. And of course, the opposition is going to be there too. And look out, the same doom and gloom. Same doom and gloom you're going to be hearing there tomorrow. But I'll leave that up to you. It'll be on live TV, it'll be on social media. All of you in the diaspora, all around St. Lucia, in Liège, Belgium, in Edmonton, Canada, in Toronto, Wavin Chabot, Massac, Plateau, Hill 20, all over. And of course, the radio fans on 93.1 FM who are listening with Champagne. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you all next week. I'm Norbert Williams. Good night.
The opinions expressed on this TV program by the hosts, guests, and callers are solely their opinions and responsibility. They do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Hot 7 TV or its affiliates.
St. Lucia, you asked for it, and it's finally here. Hot 7 TV is now on Flow, cable channel 117. The first fully high-definition local channel in St. Lucia. Catch your favorite movies, intriguing documentaries, chart-busting music videos, and the ever-compelling midday and evening edition of the Hot 7 News. All in crisp, high-definition quality. Welcome to what TV should be in this era. Welcome to Hot 7 TV. Now on Flow Cable, channel 117. Spread the word.
Tonight, St. Jude workers stage a small protest at the hospital as the